Good afternoon. I'm delighted to be here and be part of this program, so thank you for inviting me. I'd like to start with acknowledgments and context. In terms of acknowledgments, I'd like to acknowledge my colleague Lisa Schneider, who actually had the idea for this study and took the leadership in implementing it, and also Andrew Biggs of the American Enterprise Institute worked on the basic study with us, although was not part of preparing this presentation. In terms of context, I'd like to start off by saying there are a lot of financial advisors, over 300,000, and it's not uncommon for a financial advisor to have between 100 and 500 clients. They reach a lot of people. A survey of Americans, 38% of them say they have a financial advisor. Now, that's not a majority, but it's not insignificant in terms of impact, especially because people tend to trust their advisor. That's why they work with them. And the face-to-face impact means the opportunity to educate effectively is very high. Most advisors provide advice and education about Social Security and when to claim benefits. And therefore, a key question is, how well do they do, and how can their effectiveness be enhanced? I'll try to address that. Also, in terms of context, if we are concerned about financial security of Americans in retirement, it is very hard to overlook Social Security. It is, now there are some measurement errors in some of the service measurement of income, but so I think it's a reasonable assessment based on the data that Social Security accounts for over half of the income of the older population. Half of older women receive at least 75% of their income from Social Security, and when we look at women aged 75 and over, 3/5 are widowed. And I'm focusing on women because in terms of financial security, the biggest problem we have is older women, especially widowed women. They tend to outlive their husbands. They're the ones who have the highest incidence of poverty and near poverty. That's the biggest problem. Now, as you know, the older you are when you claim Social Security, the higher you get just by delaying. You can claim starting at age 62, and every month you delay, you get more. And if you wait until 70, which is the highest amount, you get 72% more by virtue of claiming than you do at age 62. And there's two other facts that are important about delayed claiming. When you delay claiming, you get a higher income, which is equivalent to buying a lifetime annuity, except this lifetime annuity is indexed for inflation, real inflation, no matter what it is. And for the higher earner, in a husband and wife family, the higher benefit also acts like life insurance, because on the death of the higher earner, the surviving spouse gets a choice of his or her benefit or the higher one. They tend to choose the higher one, which means a husband who earns more by delaying provides more income for spouses, and so that's important. And 69% of workers claim prior to age 65, and a significant proportion claim at age 62 or 63. Economist Stephen Sass did a study of this and called delayed claiming, quote, the best deal in town. Don't we want more people to have the best deal in town? And so more effective claiming strategies, I submit, is one of the most effective ways at very low cost of enhancing the financial security of Americans, especially older women. Now, we did a study. We online survey of 406 advisors from all the various channels from a list provided by Financial Media Group. One of the great things about financial advisors is they tend to be licensed by government agencies, which means we can get a great list and take a random sample from a really effective list, which was what we did. We invited them by telephone to increase the cooperation. The people we spoke to had at least 3 years' experience, at least $50,000 of annual income, at least 40,000 of clients ages 55 and above, provided regular advice on retirement. In other words, these are established advisors who talk to older clients getting close to retirement. And we found that when we asked these advisors who advise older clients how knowledgeable they are about how Social Security retirement benefits change based on the age one chooses to claim, that only 44% say they're very knowledgeable. I think they should be more, at least half should be very knowledgeable about this basic and not hard to understand thing, but it's 44%. And then we get into spousal benefits and how knowledgeable they feel and claim they are. Only 24% say they're very knowledgeable about how spousal benefits work. 61% say they are somewhat knowledgeable. Despite that, great majority of advisors talk to their clients about the role of Social Security in their retirement finances, as well they ought to. 41% talk to virtually all of their clients about the subject as the clients approach retirement. Another 34% speak to a majority of their clients about this. This is a typical conversation. They are out doing it. And furthermore, when we ask them about if they advise them on the best age to claim Social Security benefits, again, 31% talk to almost all their clients about it. 35% speak to 60 to 89% of their clients, and even the 20% who speak to at least 40% of their clients. Only 13% speak to less than that. So we have a channel in place talking face-to-face with people who trust them about the subject. Now, we know that framing is important, and the different framing of an issue affects behavior. And there's a lot of research, and Olivia and Ari and Jeff Brown at University of Illinois did some excellent research on the impact of framing on the claiming decision. One of the worst ways to frame the issue of when to claim is to say the decision to delay claiming is like a gamble. If you live longer than your life expectancy, you will win the gamble and get more in Social Security benefits. And the reason for that is there's a strong power of loss aversion. People fear and hate losing more than they love winning. So the idea of losing a gamble is more compelling than the possibility of winning. And so when you introduce the subject of loss, you get people to avoid loss by claiming as soon as possible and get that income going. And I should also add that by delaying claiming for, let's say, a year, and if you get $10,000, you could have gotten it that year, you are giving up $10,000, but you are getting this lifetime annuity, inflation adjusted, for a cost that, first of all, you can't get the product easily on the open market, would cost much more than that. And one of the reasons is that in the private market, people must make a profit. They must somehow compensate their advisors. But the Social Security Administration does not see compensation for increasing the payout. I think the most effective way to frame it is the bottom. The decision to delay claiming is like buying insurance, because delaying will yield a higher monthly income guaranteed for life. This provides greater protection against running out of money in old age. And you have to ask which of these three statements is the best way of describing the decision to delay claiming. Only 21% say it is. Now, to get some further insight on this, we gave a number of examples to the advisors and asked how they would advise their clients. And let me get to something first. I'm sorry. The typical, an often used way of advising people on how to decide whether to delay or claim immediately is the break-even analysis. And the break-even analysis works something like this. If you delayed for, let's say, 1 year and you gave up $10,000 of potential income in that year, you would have given up that money. But if you live to some period of time, 12, 13, 14 years, you'll have broken even. And if you live longer than that, you'll be better off. And the work that Olivia et al. Have done indicates break-even analysis leads to earlier and often suboptimal claiming. Okay, you'll hear more about that soon. I'm stealing their thunder. But the most important part is this, I think economists, I predict they will say, this is a poor way to help clients determine when they should claim benefits. And 2% of advisors said it was a poor way, but 14% said it was excellent, and 41% said they're very good. They probably have not read this literature, but it's not beyond us to educate them about this if we had the vehicle to do it, and we do, fortunately. Anyway, that's a misconception about the best way to do this. Okay, examples. If the following type of person came to you at age 62 seeking advice about when to claim Social Security benefits, which strategy are you most likely to suggest? We gave them a number of them. I'll only give you two. The first one is this unmarried woman in excellent health, e.g., she's likely to live for a long time. She's earning $80,000 a year and hopes to retire as soon as possible and has investable assets of $700,000. Now, if you do the math, and she's 62 and wants to retire soon, $700,000, less than 10% of her, only about 9 times her assets is not great. She should, I think, she has enough liquidity to delay claiming. Only 19% of advisors say she ought to. In the interest of time, I will skip over the next example, which you can, if you get the paper, can see. But in another case where most economists would say that delay is advisable, the advisors would not advise that. Most advisors, when asked how well their primary, the main company they use, does in providing materials to help them educate their clients about Social Security, only 6% agree they do a good job. 20% have 4 out of 5. They don't get good marks. But when asked how interested they would be in receiving the following from the Social Security Administration, these are the proportions who say not they're very interested, that they are extremely interested. 71% extremely interested in calculators or worksheets to help determine the best age for clients to claim their benefits. 70% extremely interested in calculators or worksheets to use with clients to calculate the benefit amount at different ages. Even down at the bottom, 59% extremely interested in tips on how to address Social Security issues with clients. There's a lot of distrust of government, but not in the Social Security Administration, as a provider of information, advice, and tools on this subject. Yet, and additionally, 74% believe it would be highly useful for the SSA, Social Security Administration, to provide a section of its website for financial advisors, which it does. But only 1/3 of advisors are aware of this now. And right now, only 13% of advisors believes the Social Security Administration does a good job of educating financial advisors about how Social Security works. So, financial advisors tend to suggest earlier claiming than most economists consider optimal. Framing decisions in terms of break-even ages and gambles inadvertently encourage suboptimal claiming ages. Advisors' self-reports on knowledge on spousal benefits suggest the need for more education. Advisors would welcome Social Security providing more tools and educational support targeted at advisors. So I think what we have, if I can just make a couple of small comments, is basically, let me make a comparison. We can focus on individuals, which I think we ought to. But we must recognize that they're hard to educate, and we really have to do it one at a time. Or we can focus on advisors who should be easier to educate because this is their profession, and each of them has a multiplier effect of 100 to 600 at a time, and they can be more compelling because of the face-to-face interactions. So I think in terms of research, it would be useful to increase the effectiveness of the Social Security as a source. They have the web page already up there, and for little cost, I think it could be enhanced through research with advisors in the financial services community to be as effective as possible in the basic information it provides and how it updates advisors in an effective way about the new research which is being done. And also, I think we could use research to increase awareness of the site and the resources that could be made available. Does that say 1 minute? That's good. That's all I need. To have a communication strategy that will raise awareness from 13% to a higher number. And I think if progress was made in these areas and going back and measuring the effectiveness would be advisable. And I yield back the other 13 seconds I have left.